All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So I'm going to actually do a follow-up on people allowing themselves to be taken advantage of. And I have a colleague or somebody I work with actually a lot that I'm a part of Optimized Being with Jason Demchok. And he actually did a podcast that I was on. And then he broke it into sections. And one of them was, do not allow yourself to be taken advantage of. And I said, you know what, let me do something a little more in depth because that section was only about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to this subject matter, don't realize that they do get taken advantage of a lot more than they think, especially maybe when trying to get into a relationship or when starting a relationship or actually when in a relationship. If you know anything about me, I try to help men with relationships and how to help them find the woman or women of their dreams, even if they've been through a bad breakup or divorce. And I think one of the things that happens to a lot of men at the beginning, I should say, if they're having a hard time finding someone after a certain amount of time, when they do finally find somebody, they're kind of a pushover a lot of times. And I think women go through that as well. I think there does sometimes maybe become a desperate component. Sometimes if you haven't been able to find love or you haven't been able to connect with somebody and you see something that's really kind of working for the first time, maybe in a while, or you kind of get swept up in the moment. You just may randomly meet somebody and, you fall head over heels for them and, you start this relationship. And before you know it, you start getting taken advantage of. And what's interesting is I think each relationship, people have to realize, is so different than the next. I've seen myself even in these situations where, say, in one relationship, I'd stand my ground on everything towards this person. I'd be like, I'm not giving in at all. I don't give a shit, blah, blah, blah. At that point in time, I felt like that. Then in another relationship, I was kind of like a pushover. I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, yeah. All right, I just want to make it work out. All right, let's try to figure things out. Like I had a whole different disposition because it was a different person, but I was kind of a different person. Then I might be in another relationship and I handled it differently. And we're going to all handle each person or each relationship different than probably the one before or after to a certain degree. But I do want people to really pay attention to not getting taken advantage of because I think it happens a lot, especially with young people. A lot of young people, I think, don't realize that they may be being misled. They may be, lied to, cheated on, being told what they can and can't do. And this, again, can even happen if you're in a marriage or a divorce or going through a divorce or many different things. I don't want to just put it at the beginning of a relationship. I want to say in general, sometimes we don't realize it, but slowly but surely we're kind of losing control of maybe who we were or who we wanted to be or what we want to do and how we want to do it because we're kind of following somebody else's path or what they want more than, what you want. And I do think a lot of times if you do fall in this situation, because I think a lot of men do, I think what happens is at the beginning of the relationship, again, a lot of times you may be head over heels. The woman may be very attractive, maybe more beautiful than you've ever had, maybe more educated or just cool and sexy or whatever the hell, great in bed. I don't know what it is. And you just don't want to make any waves. But as time goes on, you slowly but surely start to get more and more aggravated by her behavior. And again, it doesn't just mean verbal. It could be texts, it could be emails. It could be just how she treats you in public or behind closed doors or the way she talks to you at certain times. And then you kind of eventually have enough and you stand up for yourself. And it's almost at the point now where you've been pushed so far against the wall, instead of maybe nipping it in the bud earlier or before talking things through, now it's almost an explosion. And now you're maybe arguing, you're screaming, and almost, what I think happens though too is sometimes men, I should say, and sometimes women, they like somebody to take the reins. They kind of like sometimes in a relationship to be told what they can and can't do to a certain degree. And you see that all the time, like, oh, my wife or my husband don't let me do that. I can't do this, or I can't stay out late, or I can't go with this person. I can't, you kind of use them as an excuse too. But here's the deal, and I've discussed this even with my co-host. If you're starting to have problems, for one, with somebody kind of getting out of control, trying to control every aspect of your life, wait till things calm down and have a normal conversation about it and just express how you feel. Not when things boil over. And I think a lot of times people, they let themselves get pushed over, pushed over, and then they explode. They're like a hot boiling pot of water, as I like to talk about. It's kind of boiling. It keeps simmering and simmering, and then before you know it, it's just boom. And you really got to pay attention to that. And I also think a lot of times, too, is, when people get, kind of taken advantage of a lot, and then say there's a breakup or things go sideways or whatever, they have a tendency, too, of blaming always somebody else a lot of times, I realized. But the reality is you got to kind of blame yourself. Now, I'm not saying if you got, something happened out of left field, somebody leaves you, cheats on you, wants a divorce, wants a breakup, ghosts you. That's kind of different. But I do think a lot of people set a certain standard for days, weeks, years, and then all of a sudden, can't take it anymore. And I get it if you can't take it. But you probably haven't, you knew you didn't want to take it before. You just kind of set somebody up to kind of allow them to take advantage of you. And then when you decided it wasn't time anymore to be taken advantage of, then you couldn't handle it anymore, which is understandable. But it should have never got that far. But I do think a lot of times also, I will wrap it up with this, I don't want to get long-winded, a lot of us only look at how we're being taken advantage of. We never look at the other person as far as us taking advantage of them. I think this happens a lot within marriages, especially. You could talk to a wife, they'll be like, hey, he doesn't understand all the stuff I do, this, the kids or the house, and pay the bill, what accounting, work, whatever it is. And then the guy's like, she doesn't understand all the shit I do, work, kids, whatever, maintain the home, whatever his issue, the cars, whatever the thing is. And then when they get a divorce, or if they get separated, or whatever the case may be, it hits you. You're like, you know what? I didn't realize a lot of times all the other things that person was doing. I did at times take advantage of them. Most people don't do that, though. But I'm telling you right now, pay attention, because a lot of people, not only may you be getting taken advantage of with certain things, but you also may be doing the same thing. All right? So I just wanted to do a quick podcast on this. I'm trying to keep these short. But really pay attention to those things, because a lot of times we do not know, not only in relationships, it could be at work, it could be with anyone, it could be with friends. A lot of times we think we become a victim and say, oh my God, everyone's always taking advantage of me. They always need me to do something or go somewhere or help them here and help them there. Yeah, well, on the flip side, I can assure you, most likely, you do not, go unscathed. You probably need help as well regarding many other things. It may not be the same thing, but there are things you may be doing that you need help with. So just address it and kind of take it from there. All right. And if you want to check out my other podcast, here, I'll look it up actually. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I think it was it's actually on Optimized Being, that channel. It's called Do Not Allow Yourself to Be Taken Advantage of. It's a short listen, like 1 minute and 48 seconds. That was pretty cool that I got to go on there. And we do a lot of other things as well. So if you get a chance, check out Optimized Being. He does a lot of things with health, wellness, cooking. It's amazing. All right, take care.